In the NBA, elite scorers such as Devin Booker are adding point guard to their resumes. With 75 seconds remaining in the Phoenix Suns season opener, Devin Booker had the ball in his hands and the full attention of all 5 Golden State Warriors defenders. He had been in similar situations plenty of times. This one was different. This October 24 showdown was, after all, Booker's first game since he shifted to point guard on a permanent basis. It wasn't completely foreign territory. The 3-time All-Star had filled that role for stretches of minutes and even for games on many occasions. Chris Paul, the future Hall of Famer who was the Suns' steady, pass-first pilot during the most successful seasons of Booker's career the previous few years, was now on the other side. Paul had been rerouted to Golden State after the Suns traded him to the Washington Wizards as part of the Bradley Beal blockbuster, and Phoenix opted not to acquire a traditional point guard to replace him. It's Booker's full-time job now, floor general of a super team with NBA title aspirations. And the first true test of the Suns' high-stakes experiment had arrived late in crunch time inside Chase Center. Where a true point guard helps is late down the stretch in games, Booker told ESPN the week before the season began. His words were about to ring true. The Suns led by 1 point when center Jusuf Nurkic set a screen for Booker at the top of the key. Golden State big man Kevon Looney showed to prevent the drive while Paul slid into the paint to help on Nurkic's roll to the rim. Booker made the read and executed beautifully, leaping to create a passing angle, his eyes fixed toward Nurkic until the last split second before delivering a cross-court dime to Josh Okogie for a wide-open corner 3. 2 free throws by Stephen Curry made it a 2-point game ahead of the Suns' next possession. Phoenix ran another pick-and-roll on the right side of the floor, with shooting guard Eric Gordon setting a second screen for Nurkic. As Gordon popped to the right wing and the 7-foot, 290-pound Nurkic began to slowly rumble on his roll, Curry picked up Booker to prevent a drive. Booker snaked back toward the top of the three-point arc, presenting a dilemma to Golden State's defense. Leave Gordon alone on the wing or let Nurkic waltz down the lane. Looney picked up Nurkic as Booker zipped a chest pass to Gordon for another wide-open 3. Curry responded with a 3, so it was a one-possession game once again when Booker got the ball back. This time, Gary Payton II, Golden State's most tenacious on-ball defender, was in Booker's grill as Nurkic approached a couple of strides over half-court. Booker took one hard dribble right before pulling up at the top of the three-point arc. Looney sold out to prevent one of the league's premier shooters from getting a good look, but an airborne Booker fired a two-hand pass to Nurkic in the middle of a crowded lane. Nurkic's layup with 10 seconds left was the dagger, capping a wild sequence, and Booker's crunch time clinic. Booker scored 32 points in the win, but he dissected the Warriors with his playmaking, reading the Warriors' defense like a seasoned PG. It affirmed what Booker and the Suns believed heading into 2023-24. He was ready to run point for an elite offense. The Suns' new lineup strategy makes Phoenix the most extreme example of a league-wide trend of teams veering away from old-school, prototypical point guards and toward explosive scorers as their primary offensive initiators. Phoenix's front office and new coach Frank Vogel bet on the playmaking ability of the Suns' star trio of Kevin Durant, Beal and Booker, but are leaning particularly on the 9-year veteran. "I don't want to say it's simple, but you just make the right play," Booker told ESPN about his new role as point guard. "I don't want to say it's simple, but you just make the right play." Mike D'Antoni entered his interview for the Houston Rockets coaching vacancy in 2016 with the mission of convincing then general manager Daryl Morey that he could maximize James Harden's immense talent. D'Antoni's plan: move Harden to point guard, a position the All-Star had never played at any level. Why go through 10 seconds of the shot clock or more just to get him the ball, anyway? D'Antoni told ESPN recently. At the end of games when you try to get him the ball, they're overplaying or holding him. If he starts with the ball, then we got the decision-maker with the ball in his hands, which we were going to do anyway. So that was the thought process, and then obviously you never know how it's going to look. Then James just took it to another level that was beyond my wildest dreams. Harden was already a superstar and the face of the franchise when D'Antoni arrived in Houston, but his career launched into a different stratosphere while playing for the coach who had revolutionized NBA offense with the 7 seconds or less Suns. Steve Nash, an all-time great pass-first point guard, masterfully orchestrated that Phoenix offense, which pioneered the modern pace and space style. Nash and D'Antoni share the same significant regret from those days. They wish the Suns would have launched a lot more threes, especially Nash himself. Harden definitely didn't need any encouragement to shoot more. D'Antoni tailored his system to Harden's, playing at James's pace, instead of trying to replicate the Suns' speedy style. Harden, who had always been a great passer, led the league with 11.2 assists per game in his first season as a point guard and won the next 3 scoring crowns. In 4 seasons playing for D'Antoni, Harden averaged 32.4 points and 8.8 assists per game, winning 1 MVP and finishing second in voting twice and third once. A big smile broke out underneath Harden's bushy beard when he reminisced about those days after a recent LA Clippers game. He said D'Antoni messed up the way I think about basketball, and meant it as a massive compliment. So started the trend of elite scorers, often in the forms of wings, assuming point guard responsibilities. If you're scoring, now the defense has got to adjust to you, Harden told ESPN. Instead of running pinaways or stagger screens or all that, we've got 17 seconds to make a play and move the ball instead of running around getting into the set. Guys running all over the goddamn place. It's just easier, it's smoother, it's faster. A lot of coaches aren't going to like it, because they can't control or they don't feel like they're coaching. But in a sense, you are coaching because when you got a player like that, you've got to let them just be free and let them dictate the game. Half of the league's top 20 scorers play point guard, led by 6'7" Dallas Mavericks superstar Luka Doncic, whose 32.7 points per game ranks second. Booker isn't included in that group despite averaging 28.1 points per game because a series of injuries have prevented him from playing enough games to be an official qualifier. You can't even really use the words, true point guard, anymore, Portland Trail Blazers coach Chauncey Billups, a 5-time All-Star and Finals MVP point guard, told ESPN. You can't even really use the words, true point guard, anymore. Coaches cite a variety of reasons for the evolution of the point guard position. D'Antoni, now a consultant for the New Orleans Pelicans, mentioned the Don Nelson theory, crediting the NBA's second all-time winningest coach's vision of playing 5 similarly sized, multi-skilled players for starting the league's positionless movement. The league has also leaned into analytics, which have especially influenced shot profiles while bumping up usage rates for many of the most effective and efficient creators. Setting the table is different now, Mavericks coach Jason Kidd, a Hall of Fame point guard who ranks second all-time in assists, told ESPN. Setting the table is different now. As Harden referenced, part of the point guard scoring boom has been coaches calling fewer plays and giving their stars more control. Coaching offense in the NBA has become more about creating concepts and spacing instead of signaling in plays from the sideline. There's a lot more pick and roll, a lot more isolation off the dribble, Kidd said. There's a lot more pick and roll, a lot more isolation off the dribble. As a result, NBA offensive systems from team to team are more similar than they were in decades past. That might make it easier to game plan on a night-to-night basis, but it's more difficult than ever to defend. The NBA record for team offensive efficiency has been broken in 4 of the previous 5 seasons. By Curry's Warriors, Doncic's Mavericks, Harden's Brooklyn Nets and De'Aaron Fox's Sacramento Kings. 5 teams are on pace to break it again this season: the Indiana Pacers, Philadelphia 76ers, Milwaukee Bucks, Atlanta Hawks and Mavericks. The top 2 offenses are run by a pair of blossoming superstars in Indiana's Tyrese Haliburton and Philadelphia's Tyrese Maxey, who are lighting it up as point guards after entering the league as shooting guards. All 5 offenses on record pace feature point guards who are elite scorers. You're not looking for necessarily a quarterback anymore. Charlotte Hornets coach Steve Clifford, whose 6'8" point guard LaMelo Ball averages 24.7 points per game, set in early November. You're looking for a guy who can make shots and create shots. All certainly has not gone as planned for the Suns this season. Phoenix planned for Beal, a three-time All-Star who has twice averaged more than 30 points per game, to share some of the point guard duties with Booker. But they hadn't played a possession together until Tuesday night's win over the Warriors. Back problems limited Beal to only 3 appearances in the first 7 weeks of the season, and Booker was out for those few games. Booker has been sidelined a total of 9 games this season due to toe, calf and ankle injuries. The 3 stars made their first appearance as a trio in Wednesday's loss to the Nets, when Durant returned from an ankle injury. Then Beal sprained his ankle early in Friday's loss to the New York Knicks, an injury that is likely to sideline him until the new year. It's been a bumpy road for the Suns with their stars in and out of the lineup, a factor in Phoenix losing 6 of 8 games before Sunday's comeback win over the Wizards. Nevertheless, bumping Booker to the lead guard has been a resounding early success. Thanks for watching NY Sports News. Stay tuned for more updates.